Go with the technicals. Sixth day in a row, the euro is up. Yields drop. We're waiting for an auction of slightly longer dated paper, and crude is flat at the moment. 76.99 is where we trade. Look, we've talked about one big tech company, which is Nvidia, but Palo Alto Networks also cutting its annual revenue forecast, putting the stock on track for roughly the worst.
All right, guys, welcome to the channel. And if you're watching this and we are not live, you can always come. That's my baby. Don't worry. It's not a random human being screaming behind me. She's just a little fussy. But yeah, at the end of this video, we do like to, in the last 15 minutes there, we'll go through every single stock that we are covering on this channel. Today, we're going to be watching the daily risk ranges. Okay, we're giving the daily risk ranges a big shot this week. I'm going to go down to a 15-minute for the day, most likely. And the reason I'm doing 15-minute is because we're seeing this sell-off. One thing I wish I mentioned in my video last night was this curling over. So we saw a couple curl overs right here. Wanted to see if we actually create that divergence, maybe with that weekly and that daily next to each other, that good support. But good morning. I haven't even been able to make my coffee yet. Well, actually, I did make coffee. I just can't go get it yet. So how are you guys doing this morning? Morning, John. Oh, all right, let's click through for a little bit. Look at these Qs. Qs are a little more volatile. We're already seeing some buying back up. IWM I thought was positive in the pre-market. Apple getting that push. I'm really going to watch this 2-hour today. That 30-minute crossed. So this 2-hour just crossed. So your divergence has confirmed on Apple. Divergence down here on the MACD. Divergence on the RSI at the same time. We talked about this over the past couple videos. What we're looking for out of this is if we see major strength, you really want that daily to cross over with this one. Amazon getting that pump up. I believe we were looking at a 30-minute for this, seeing if it's able to get into positive territory. Still a chance since we didn't take out this low that filling this gap still could be some resistance. Tesla, we're getting that reaction, okay, right in this area here. Okay, if you were live with us yesterday, we were talking about this a lot. I'd like it to hold up maybe a little bit better than this, but hey, it wants to come down a little deeper, find some more buyers, getting a reaction as of now, about to maybe curl up in positive territory. All good stuff. Nvidia actually selling off a little bit here. We go into a 15. We'll see this curl over. Maybe we create some kind of divergence down here, and then we get some kind of bounce. But really, today's all about this. Like, today's a huge day. So today's all about the earnings. It's all about the FOMC minutes. Give the stream a like for me if you could. Right, we're looking at these risk ranges today. We're going to be on here for about an hour and a half today. AMD wanting to break below this triangle again. We're seeing that buy back up pretty quick. One thing that I was looking at, I gotta see which one it is. It's this here. Microsoft was one I was looking at. This would be a very pretty head and shoulders, right? You got the left, you got the head. Maybe we actually do get some kind of bounce here to fill this gap, get a right shoulder. I just was noticing this, and since we're in negative territory, it's a good sign if we do see this cross up for some time, that this might just be some kind of trap, some kind of lower high to then break us down lower. I just thought this one was pretty cool on Microsoft. I do pay attention to a ton of stocks. Qs is what we watched for the most part yesterday. Let's see if this is able to roll over or if this selling is going to die out this morning. You see if we roll over on this 15-minute negative territory, we're probably going a little bit lower, right? We're going to test this low. Looks like we're already testing it. If we held here, that would create a little bit of a higher low, and we could maybe see some traction. The whole script can be flipped, you know, the whole script can be flipped after we get the Nvidia earnings. Well, and FOMC minutes. 1 o'clock my time, 1 o'clock Central is when those come out, and then that'd be 2 hours before close. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing. I see some likes coming in. Let's see if they're talking about anything this morning.
We have to kind of zoom out a little bit, because if you look at Nvidia at the end of the year, it was trading at 500, and now it's up, you know, even with this pullback closer to 700. It could pull back $100 and still be in an upward trend. And I think when you think about tech and the broader market more broadly, I mean, it's all about earnings, right? Tech has outperformed over this last year because the earnings momentum has been stronger. So I think what you want to see from Nvidia is that continue. But I think more broadly, the way we're thinking about things,
By the way, it's not Nvidia.
Positive off the October lows. Now we think we're more likely to trade in more of a consolidation, a choppy consolidation, as tech also cools off. I mean, let's not forget, tech was up 30% off the lows from October. And then semiconductors just this year were up over 20%. And we all know Nvidia before this pullback was up 50. So I think a cooling is more likely. And as long as their earnings are fine, I think as you look at 6 to 12 months, I think that's fine. I think short term, more likely we'll continue to consolidate here.
And you talk about the outperformance in Mag 7. Obviously, Tesla, we can debate whether that drops out of Mag 7 or not. I think that's, you know, an intellectual debate. But you talk about financial.
Well, someone tell that guy Nvidia's consolidating a little lower.
Up 26%. What was it? Mag 7 up 28, 26.8%. But there was the silent assassin in financials up 26.2%. Do you think it's time to delve a little bit deeper and perhaps to ditch those with commercial property exposure? HSBC tanking its commercial property exposure here in the United States this morning.
Still a reverse head and shoulders. We didn't cross this low.
We looked at since the October low.
We're able to hold
what was
here.
The performance of these different sectors, and what was surprising was that financials were up almost the same as technology, and small caps were still outperforming large caps. So we become myopic just looking at the first 6 weeks of this year, and people kind of lose sight that we had such a big rally at the end of last year. To your point, more specifically on financials, you know, when we talk about financials, we're talking about the broader sector, and it's much more diverse. In fact, most people may not realize Berkshire Hathaway is the largest holding in the financial sector, but you also have, you know, credit cards, capital markets, insurers. Think about all the prices are going up. That's one way to take advantage of that. And we do like some of the bigger banks in general. I think you have to, as you mentioned, have to be more selective as you go lower.
We do have another divergence on the VIX forming. Close to negative territory
you gotta hand it
here.
to Warren Buffett. I mean, who's the cleverest of them all on his call on Japan? I mean, he was just way ahead of the posse, wasn't he, this time last year, if you remember, into the brokerages. That's a whole other conversation. Where are you on the consumer? Just quickly run through Toll Brothers. I mean, that's a very clear supply constraint story, but it does tell me something, again, perhaps about bifurcation, that awful overused word, in consumer markets. Toll Brothers, relative to what's...
I am going to run and get coffee real quick, guys. I'll be right back.
I think you're right. I mean, I've used the word bifurcation as well, so maybe I've overused it.
It's not personal, by the way.
LG, good luck on that second trade.
I've used it myself, so it's not just you.
Yeah, but it is, you know, when you think about the economy, it's...
Thank you to the couple people that have bought the course before it goes up to 200. Thank you so much.
Well, right? We have, you know, asset prices.
I'm hearing some good feedback, so
real estate
good.
Prices going up. A lot of folks either don't have a mortgage or they're locked in at 3%.
We'll be right back.
Even more broadly, though, I know there's, you know, the excess savings. You know, we can debate what that actually is. But one positive, even with this uptick in inflation that we've seen, is that wage growth, for really the first time during this post-pandemic period, is now above inflation. So in our view, that should continue to support consumer spending at a steady pace. Now, we are expecting a step down from what we've seen the last couple of years, but in general, I think that's a positive. The other thing that's kind of a wild card out there, which could be a positive, there's these tax proposals out there as well, which could also benefit. We are in an election year, as you know.
We are, and we're also in a hot war year as well. I mean, I've had one or two people come on and say, listen, either way, either throughout this year and going into next year, regardless of who is in the White House, by the way. Defense, cybersecurity, those deep expenditure areas that are unavoidable need to be re-examined and need to be upped in scale in the portfolio.
Yeah, I think it's notable that technology is the one sector that made a new all-time high, but the other sector that made an all-time high recently was industrials, and it's a very diverse sector. But to your point, defense spending is not going lower; it's going higher, and it's not just in the U.S. It's global spending is likely to go higher as well. So I think that's a secular tailwind that's going to be here for many years. So again, I think that's a positive attribute. We're also seeing this manufacturing renaissance. You see it in the construction numbers just going V-shaped. And what's also probably missed somewhat is a lot of the different acronyms that we talked about fiscal stimulus the last few years, the IRA, the infrastructure bill. A lot of that spending is just starting to hit this year and to next year. So that will be a tailwind in our view for several more years.
Well, we saw that come through in Intel and Global Foundries yesterday, Keith, in terms of the potential lending to them. Keith, thank you very much for being with us. It is Keith Lerner there, my guest on the markets. Coming up, a miss for HSBC despite record profits.
Our confidence is there in the reiteration of our 2024 target to deliver mid-teens returns. We've reiterated that target today.
We'll break down the numbers next on Bloomberg.
All right, we are back. All right, we're back. Let's see if anything's happening. Well, we're seeing some red bar here. Who's got some plays for the day? Who's got some plays? Or do you have a weekly play? What are you guys playing out there? Does anyone dare trade Nvidia for the next 24 hours? Good luck if you do. So far, down. Good analysis, Luke. Staying away from Nvidia. Good idea. Very good idea. You could still go about 80 points lower from here. So with that earnings. Now we did leave behind a gap. We get some positive news, which we've seen a lot of positive news out of Nvidia. Sometimes doing nothing is the right thing to do. I totally agree. Totally agree, because you have signs of Apple bouncing, and that was that was part of what I was trying to get across in last night's video. It wasn't the best way to get it across, but you have Apple that's showing you divergences that say, hey, we might see a pop higher. Nvidia showing you stuff that says, right now it says weakness. Still in an uptrend overall. Like, you can't say it's fully flipped yet. We could, be getting a 2-hour push. We just get a little 2-hour push higher. Then we create that lower high. That would be pretty good. I wonder if we'll get to one of these risk ranges again today. We're almost to one right there. I'm playing by a 12-5 call and a 12 put. See how it goes. Can afford to play Nvidia directly. No. You're thinking at least a little better. I mean, you're working with the money you got. I get that. I would say with doing any kind of stuff on SQQQ, that stuff can deteriorate very, very fast, right? So I guess that's what you're doing. You're playing kind of both sides, seeing which way the market goes, and then hit and sell on one. It's not the worst strategy in the world, honestly. I mean, it's better than trying to play Nvidia and getting them to produce like a one good number, one bad number, and then the market reacts up, and then you have no idea. Like, you're like, the numbers were bad, but it's going up. You always hate when that happens. That's why I don't trade around earnings anymore. Won't do it. Smash that like button for me. Make sure you tell me that you like these risk ranges. Oh god, I forgot I had coffee for a sec. So good. Working on trade 3 now. trade the exact same thing. The thing is, see, I want to take a trade, but it just looks like it's gonna bounce up from here to me. Smash. Thank you, Gilberto. I appreciate that. You just smashed your mouse. You broke your mouse to hit that like button. Yeah, it just looks like we might get one curl over and it might be some kind of trap, but that's what the technicals would say if we roll over here and then curl back up, but I really have the feeling it's going to be a letdown with the FOMC and then possibly a lift up with Nvidia. That's really what I kind of see happening. Ooh, I woke up a little late today, guys. I needed that coffee. There was one thing I was looking at on, I think it was the US 100, doing some scalping. And it was this pattern here, like this consolidation. I was really looking at it. These are like dead even. So we're actually within a consolidation flagging here. It's just a very wide range one. We had one of those really wide ones right here. And now you're getting kind of a little one. Now you are outside of this trend line here, but I just thought it was interesting to look at this US 100. Good morning, George. Mr. Rosales. Good morning. But I really wanted to point this out to you guys because this flatness of the MACD here, there could be some turnaround here, but this is actually where we would most likely break down further if we saw it kind of sell off back into this channel. Then we might get back in the channel and see this thing just stair step down into the bottom here. That's actually a wedge that's forming. So I just thought that was interesting because the consolidation doesn't necessarily look that good on the actual QQQs. And I think we just crossed that low, so the head and shoulders just got violated. We'll see if we're able to maybe hold up at a trend line or possibly the daily and weekly expected move since they're right next to each other. Amazon still positive, Tesla positive, Apple positive. So you got 3 pretty dang good ones that are positive, Nvidia down 2%. What was the third trade of the day? Oh, yeah, that's right. You're scalping. But yeah, whoever said sit on your hands a little bit, sometimes doing nothing is the right thing to do. Couldn't agree more. Stay out of the craziness for a few days and a trade probably pops up in 2 days after that. You know, if you're like me, you're itchy to take a trade at least before the weekend or something, and then it gets really close to the weekend, you go, I don't know what could happen over the weekend, and then you just wait till Monday. Man, this was a good breakout candle. That's crazy. Wonder what SMCI did today. Supermicro, that was a big sell-off. That's kind of the rug pull there. I mean, if you get divergence, you can get a more sustainable bounce here. Wouldn't be crazy to come fill this gap. I mean, get into positive territory. You're really close. But if this rolls over, you might be making a new low in SMCI, and this thing's been moving. It might come all the way down to like 627. That would be pretty crazy. Working on trade 4. You're moving this morning. I respect that. You are moving. I guess I keep this. I was looking at one of my trades. I'm like, I guess I keep it. It's kind of my insurance trade. You're running around. That's my pit bull. One day I'll have to show you guys the boys. I'll have to show you guys the pups. Remember, at the end of the video, we are going to, in the last 10 or 15 minutes, right around 9:45, 9:50, we're going to run through all the stocks before the event. Tune back in tonight on YouTube. Make sure to hit that like button because we're going to see if we want to do these risk ranges from now on. It seems like you guys are really enjoying them so far. I'm just going to look at everything on Saturday and Sunday and see how the like ratio was, if you guys saw it valuable. But in the last 15 minutes, we're going to do some stuff. Turn them into lemonade. Hey, I get you. LG's working this morning. Let's go. What's the low on this? 42350. 42345. We did violate it. There's a good likelihood that this is going to continue now. Maybe just down to this area. I mean, we have a support line. Well, we have the top of our channel, or wedge here. Top of the channel, that kind of trend line there. You have freaking the weekly, you have the daily. So if we do see that selling continue here, we can react down there. Waiting for that news though. Nvidia buzz in the air about possible future split. Interesting. Let's take a look at Nvidia. I really wanted to see this daily here. It is continuing. I want to see if it's able to. Today, I'm really seeing if it closes below this 20. Close below 20, and we're pretty close to pretty much probably getting to this area right here. We're probably gonna, if we close below the 20, quickly get to here, get a little rebound, start to break down lower. Really, overall, we were saying, you know, pay attention to this area for a big bounce. We still can go up with the earnings, though. I'm not going to count that out by any means. That's 7 minutes. Oh, we are. Like here, we were able to buy back above the 20. Very important. Now we're seeing that drop off again. Will we get that reaction one more time? Or are we going to break down first and then get some kind of pop to give us that sturdy lower high? Because we overall said exactly what's happening here, right? We break down to here, we get a bounce, we break down to here, then we get a bounce, then we break down to here, get a bounce. This is really how it would break down. This would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then maybe you do like a 1, 2, 3 push, and then you come down. Good stuff though. This 15-minute has to be crossing soon, which means more downside is coming for the Qs if we're able to cross here. Yeah, and that's kind of what, you know, it can only go so high is kind of what I'm trying to say with Nvidia. Once it hits a certain value, people will say it's not worth that, or it is worth for me to take profit. I believe that number might be like 800 or something like that is what I've been saying. Maybe 825 would be a more likely one, but somewhere in there. We'll have to see if anything develops here. We're holding up pretty good as of right now. But if we could dip down, so like if this wants to dip down a little bit and create something here, this would be cool. Because this was your cupping, maybe a handle go. Now you're more likely looking for this, get this to dip down, create a divergence here, and then you can get that right shoulder going, start to break this and head up to fill that gap. That's how I would like to see it go up. Never happens how you like it though, you know? It just never does. 2 streams ago, I forgot to unmute, so I'll remember now. AMD, still paying attention here. This is a pretty important spot to hold up, actually. This really needs to hold up here. Amazon, good reaction from Amazon. Good reaction from Tesla. See if we can beat out this high. We're on a 15-minute, so we can get overbought for quite some time. You notice we did it for almost a full day right here. So we can get overbought for quite some time. We're getting into that positive territory. So this is right where you can see that positivity come in. We're seeing it right away. Cross this high, probably heading to this zone. That 207.42 is probably going to be pretty dang important. So at this stage, you have potential for double bottoming, right? We have double bottoming here. You do have that divergence down here on the RSI. You have it between this low and this low here, and you have it between this low and this low, and you have it across. So you do have a good momentum that could shift if we get some good news. So I'm not a day-to-day trader, so I usually don't have to change too much based on what I'm showing you guys. So pretty much you guys get what I'm actually mainly paying attention to. Really, while the day is happening, I don't like mark this as support or anything like that. I'll actually more likely just really follow the price action. If it starts to cut below here, sorry, my headphones are weird. If it starts to cut below here, then I would say, okay, well, this is most likely going to possibly create a divergence. That's a play I could look at because we're near that daily expected move and the weekly expected move. So because I'm getting towards this, I can say if we do not form some kind of right shoulder and pop higher, then if this wants to break down and cross, I'll be waiting patiently, seeing if we get some kind of divergence to form. And then maybe this will be some kind of bigger head and shoulders in the future. So I'm really just thinking of plays before they happen all the time. But as far as support lines and things like that, mainly I think I do like really important ones. Okay, so mainly the support lines I pay attention to are my risk ranges. They're very, very useful. But then I can take that risk range. Maybe Tesla is a good one to look at for this. So this one I more have supports. And these are because we turned over here, we wanted to find some points where we could hold up at lower levels. So this point right here was important, 207.42. Why is it important? Okay, well, it's in the most recent price action. We saw a bunch of gaps above that area. And you notice once we get in it, we gap out of it. That's pretty important because that means the support is lost in this zone. So we gap out of it. Now we're looking, do we get some kind of reaction up to touch it one more time and then get a bigger reaction? Personally, I swing trade oil and energy. Yeah, that's a good play. A lot of the oils and energies, they react pretty well to technical analysis. Individual stocks, especially around some big event like earnings, all the technicals could go out the window. Now, oil could react. There's a lot of oil stuff going on today, actually, I think. No, that might be tomorrow. Tomorrow you have a bunch of crude oil stuff, bunch of information coming out, a bunch of Fed speakers. It's kind of like they already have the Fed speakers prepped for tomorrow, which is very interesting, is how I will put it. Yeah, they already have them prepped for 2:15 all the way till after 6:35. So if they need to do damage control, they actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm seeing 5 Fed speakers tomorrow. So there might be some damage control coming out tomorrow. We don't know. Swing trading's good though. Like if you can really learn how to swing trade, well, let's look at Apple. Okay, so we're above the 200. And I used to be like solely a swing trader when I first started. So right here maybe, or even right here, buy, boom, okay, made my money, sell, right? Or drops below the 9. This is a 5, but actually, I kind of want to switch that, but I like the 5 for the 15-minute a little bit better. But yeah, so swing trade, boom, there's your move, boom, now you sell it. This made a little bit of profit. Now we break down. Now this would say buy it again, but you might want to pay attention to the crossing of the MACD, right? So you can pay attention to a lot of things. It's not able to cross on the MACD, so you technically don't take that trade. Right here, boom, you get that crossing of the MACD above the 9 at that point. You see that extension up. One closing bar below. It's done. One right here. Boom, that is a big run. Now this one right here was the one we really talked about. Triple divergence, right? Now you have a single divergence down here on the RSI down here. But this triple divergence between these lows really gave us a good hint that Apple was going to explode. Now that exploded way faster than I thought it would. I thought it would at least have some structure going up, right? Get a retest, then start to go like this. This thing really just took off, consolidated, took off a little bit higher. Now we're seeing that drop off. Watch you guys for a little bit though. You're done it. Nice. Well, how'd your plays go? Did it all go well? I hope so. That 2-hour divergence, you actually have 2, I believe. That I don't think I mentioned this one. But you actually have like this overall big divergence between all these points, and then you do have this divergence here that's a little flatter. And the reason I was pointing that out is because the RSI matches up to that, right? We get the divergence here, and that carries across. So if we get some good news, Apple can really move, guys. It's really been beat down for quite some time. If you look at the daily, if it's able to cross up into this area, it would be above the 200. There's your swing trade. Qs, though, we already crossed on that MACD a few days ago, so we could be seeing a further pullback at this point. Can't say that we're crashing until it really gets into negative territory. All right, we're getting a reaction here. There's that double bottom possibly happening. Now you don't have it on the MACD at the same time. So this could just be some kind of lower high to get set up before we actually head lower. So we just want to pay attention to what's actually said. Went 4 for 4, all in, good day, good job. Congrats. Congrats, that is awesome. That's probably a great feeling. Now you can just kind of chill the rest of the day. Watch the craziness, you know? Now you get to just watch all the craziness today. We might have a kooky one. Right now, ooh, good buying coming in. This looks like Amazon and Tesla actually making a bigger move now, so it's getting up towards this high. Most likely what you're seeing here is a big cup. We can handle anywhere in this area. You can handle anywhere in here. Handle right before. Really what you want to see is that surge, get that good consolidation, and start to break upward. That would be very, very good if we get far away from all these moving averages. Go test one, maybe the 50 on the 15-minute, and then we start to head up. That'd be very, very good structure to head up. The Q is buying back up pretty good. Now that is a reconnect. This is a 5-day moving average, the red line here. It's a 5-day because we're watching the 15-minute. I might switch it. Let's switch it to a 9 for today. Let's switch it to a 9 for today. Just to really focus on the MACD behavior, because if this MACD does cross, like whenever it crosses into positive territory, or not positive territory, whenever it crosses down here on the MACD, you will actually see that the bar is above the 9-day moving average. So the MACD is technically telling us that we should be like here, and we're a little bit lower. So if we want to cross over, create a divergence, I'm down. Apple going up. Nvidia holding. AMD holding. That's very good for AMD. And it's got a good divergence on the RSI for this 15-minute. See if that's able to produce anything. Microsoft was one I was watching pretty close. It's about to maybe set up a very good head and shoulders. Come set up a head and shoulders here. I know we don't talk about that stock, but it's very, very good. The VIX starting to drop off. This is the other divergence we were talking about. We did get a little bit more selling. Now we're starting to come down, see if this is able to get into negative territory here for a negative trend. Come and fill this gap. If we see some good things today, we could come all the way down to about 13 and fill the other gap. Hopefully everyone's plays are going well this morning. LG, congrats. Thank you as always for smashing the like button, making sure you're telling me we're liking this stuff. And then, you know, I'd like to see some, I mean, do you guys, I need to figure out maybe some stuff to add to the live video, but if anyone has any feedback, suggestions, anything like that, or if you don't mind just chilling with me and watching the cues for today. Tomorrow we're probably going to focus on Nvidia. Honestly, we'll probably watch Nvidia pretty close, flip kind of back and forth between Nvidia and the cues, especially after we know the actual news that comes out. See, at this point, you're not seeing a big enough reaction to really reject here. It is rejecting as of now, but you want that to reject and get into positive territory. If that rejects and get into positive territory, you're probably going to be right here. Boom, you can go fill this, get a handle, go a little higher. Purple's not VWAP. I don't usually implement VWAP right now. So this is just a 50. This is a 50 on the 15. I am a very, very simple trader. MACD, RSI, support lines, divergence. I like to make it as simple as possible for myself. Sometimes when I get too much info, it keeps me from, you know, making a good decision. Like I'll think about it too hard and then I'll miss out on something, or I'll think about it too hard and trick myself into something, you know? It's like when I took, I have ADHD, but I took my ADHD meds before a test, and I convinced myself all the answers were right. And I think I got like a C, but I thought I was getting like an A+, and I was like, oh, and then I looked, and like half the ones I had the right answer in the beginning, but I did more work that made the answer wrong by the end. Wasn't the best at school, let's put it that way. Still got my degree though, baby. Which kind of meant nothing when I graduated, actually. That was a while ago. 2016, 2014. Somewhere in there, 2015. Really want to see Tesla hold that strength. You're getting that resistance right at the gap fill here. We haven't even filled it yet. And you really want that to kind of hold and consolidate more than wick out like this. These wicks here pretty saying, they're just saying sellers are up here, sellers are up here, sellers are up here. Sketch. This here, you could be consolidating at this point, so we could head lower soon. Same with the keys. The keys aren't getting that big reaction, so you have to pretend, hey, this might be just flagging at this point. We need a big reaction. Baby girl might be awake. You guys might hear that beautiful, beautiful scream. That's why I'm a little tired. I might have 2 coffees today. Let's see if Bloomberg's talking about anything. rate strategist. Let's see.
Or maybe just after the election or something, they have to hike because inflation and the economy is holding up reasonably well. So even though that, that's not a base case of just about anybody that we talk to, although there are a few outliers there that certainly think that that's a possibility. I think that an on hold case is much more likely, and you've heard some people in the fixed income markets talking about that as being more and more realistic possibility that the Fed just doesn't cut for a long time or doesn't move at all.
Yeah, Ira,
I don't
with
think
that
they're going to
notion,
move. They've said they're not.
hold higher for longer has been something Jay Powell said for quite some time. You're talking about a cut coming later in the year. Are we talking September, November timeframe?
October.
So September, I think, will be a little bit hard, even though the Federal Reserve says that they're apolitical. But I think that they wouldn't want to start any new actions just prior to the election. And September is that meeting that sits in between the conventions and the general election. So I think that they wouldn't start anything then, which is again another reason why thinking that
but maybe they're
they
forced
would
to
do a
then
move in say May, June, or July just to have it out of the way, and that gives them flexibility to continue those actions. It's definitely possible, just given the strength in the data, that maybe the Fed doesn't move or doesn't have to move until after the election. That's there's a non-zero chance of that, and I think that if we continue to get data as good as we've seen recently, then certainly that's a possibility. Again, like our view continues to be at the moment that the Fed will cut a few times this year, but not nearly as much as what the market was pricing, say, 2 months ago.
Hey, Ira, in your work looking at rates, what is the stuff you're working on now that maybe we're not asking you about, that maybe we should?
Yeah, well, so you haven't asked us about supply recently, because supply is certainly something that has gotten a lot of attention in the markets recently, just with all of the Treasury bond auctions and with deficits, $2 trillion-ish, and looking like they're going to remain at those kind of levels for the next couple of years, is something that is still getting a lot of attention, and is one of the reasons why it might be more and more difficult as time goes on, just given the stock of Treasury securities.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good to talk about what he's saying here, and what you said. 1-2 punch today. Tactical TED TV. 1-2 punch today. Fed minutes gonna give the market a reality check. Rate cuts aren't going to be as soon or as many. Then Nvidia will be the final blow. So you typed that out, and I was reading it while he was talking. You typed it out while he was saying the same thing, which is really cool. I'm a firm believer. I mean, he said we're pricing in way too many rate cuts. I've said that for about a month and a half. I was like, we're pricing in way too many rate cuts. We saw the rates start to react up because we know we have to price in less. I think it got up to like 150 basis points, which is double what they actually said. So they said 75 basis points by the end of the year. So I would expect 75 basis points by the end of the year. Market's completely delusional. Yeah. It really is, and that's why on this channel we've really, every single time we saw those divergences on the way up to these points, we've overall been like, we need that bad news, right? We need something that tips us into an actual negative trend on the 2 hour and things like that. Sorry if you guys hear crying, but we're setting up for a brutal rug pull. I actually do agree, but are the market makers going to allow the rug pull to happen? Because we still have a lot of people buying puts. We still have as of yesterday, the put call ratio closed out at 0.93. So that would mean a lot of people would get this right. Now, I'm not saying that can't happen, but we did leave behind some gaps and stuff. So what if the reaction is actually up from here and then we get the lower high scenario? That's all I'm thinking. Because you do have two things at the same time, and when you're in a positive trend like we are, we've seen a ton of positivity. We saw CPI go up, PPI go up, and we actually, saw us go up a little bit, right? We actually, from here, we saw the CPI, we went down, and then we started to go up. We get PPI, and not a lot happens with that. So now we're getting this to really drop off. Maybe people waking up a little bit, right? But what if we get one good news, one bad news? Are people still positive enough to buy at this level? Just this momentum is historically good. The run was something like 14, 15 weeks up to something, 13, 15. Something in there. Now, I would say we're going into a seasonality part where we do see a little bit of a turnaround, and it happened almost spot on, what, yesterday? I think we're only off by a couple days, maybe. So we could see some kind of bounce here and then continue that pain that we usually see at this time of year. Here, I'll mute for a sec. Yeah, way too many rate cuts. A lot of people think they're going to come out and say something different. They haven't said anything different in the last year. So they've really told you the truth the whole way. And the thing I'm worried about is we do have these divergences that crossed, right? This is still this still has crossed at this point. So we could see some positivity really come in. See that chart that shows trends going from 1929 crash. I've looked at a lot of those. The thing is, a lot of people who do that type of thing, they compare it to, I'll notice 2 weeks ago they were comparing it to 1972. Then now they're saying 1929. Then someone else is saying 2018. So, and all of them, and I watch them, all of them kind of made sense, which I was like, okay, this isn't even helpful at this point. Ron Walker YouTube posted a really awesome chart. I'll check it out. I'll give him a try. Ron Walker, charting prodigy. Nvidia sell-off as predicted. Stock market AI crash. Okay, so he's saying the crash is 100% now is from that title. You never know what they're actually saying in the video. I'll give him a sub and I'll check him out. It's a bit eccentric, but he makes some great points. Yeah, from his picture, take it with a grain of salt. From his picture here, is he overall a medium-term macro guy? Seems like a medium-term macro type of guy. Because all his pictures are they look like daily charts. But, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with him on that. Nvidia chart he posts is also astonishing. I'll check it out. Top of the trend as well. Okay, so he's got probably some good macro levels to pay attention to. Is he... I'll check him out tonight. We'll see. It'd be cool to see if we're at all thinking the same, because at least he's saying AI bubble. At least he's saying Nvidia turn. That's a perfectly good thing to say. We're one of the channels I regularly watch to get solid info. Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. And now I'm doing the daily ranges just to see if I can make it more helpful throughout the week, because I felt like throughout the week I was just kind of repeating the same things. Oh, this 2 hour could cross. This 2 hour could cross. That'd be all my video was for if I talked about Apple for the last 3 days. Oh, this could cross, this could cross, this could cross. So I wanted to implement something to make it a little bit better. Thank you. Yeah, it's I've been called a robot before. I do have a personality, guys. I used to be TikTok famous, okay? When I was young. But I just love stocks more. Looking at Apple, Microsoft makes me believe more likely than not. It's turning here. Microsoft, the only thing I want to point out was I was looking at this yesterday. This right here, if we're able to bounce from this level, would make some sense. Based on earnings climbing material higher in 2024, 2023 is predicated on earnings climbing way higher than estimated due to net negative. Hey, I see your point. And the thing is, that's exactly what the rates guy was saying, right? He's overall saying tech, we had a very, very good year. Sorry if you hear crying. Tech, we had a very, very good year last year. Now, is that going to repeat in 2024 is pretty much the narrative. And it very well could. I mean, we could see some produce good numbers, but eventually they're going to start to forward guidance and say, you know, recession's coming in. Microsoft, I'm still looking for their bounce here, maybe, by the way. That's why I have it up, because there is this good 30-minute divergence. Good 30-minute divergence here, right at a level where you need to hold up support you're talking about. Sorry, that was kind of an ADD moment. What's up, Danny? How's baby girl? Are you fidgety? Coffee's done. Will you be covering Nvidia after hours today? Yes. Shoot, maybe I should go live again at the end of the day. I have to help out with baby girl. Yeah, okay, buybacks were a huge thing, by the way. Tesla going back down. Good notification. Let's see. We didn't come up and fill this gap. Okay, here's a good thing to know. Where you consolidate on a 15-minute and 30-minute is pretty important. So you notice this gap is right here. It's just above where we're at. If we're able to consolidate right in front of it and get that pop, it's actually a good thing. Now, if we do roll over, we can get to negative territory, right? So we have to be paying attention to this. But if this rolls over and goes back up, or if this just consolidates for a little bit, goes up, consolidates, goes up, that would be very, very good for Tesla. Even if you wanted to react down to this level one more time, like a 194, reconnect with these moving averages, see a push higher. But got to be open to both sides. Overall, the 2 hour here, really, if you're playing this, you wanted to take this trade probably right in here. Okay, so right in here, or right in here, where we actually saw this confirm, right? So we saw this confirm on this bar. Okay, I'm in it. I see that roll over. I'm out. I'm back in. 1, 2, 3, push higher. See if it's able to go again. At least that's how I do things. Apple holding strong. We got that 2 hour still crossed above the 9, right? So we can see that positivity. This is where I'm worried about it. That 186 to 190, that whole area in here. Pretty worried about Apple. Yeah, buybacks are a huge thing. We're seeing more layoffs now, by the way. And you know what? Here's something cool. So I was in marketing for years. So do you know what I got a good habit of was checking Google Trends on a pretty regular basis. Do you know what what Google trend, what word, I want you to guess, what word adults are searching 700% more this year, this time of this year than they were last year? One word, it's 4 letters. Plus 10. I can tell you this, Tactical Ted. The expected move, if you're part of my Patreon, you'll get those exact numbers. But the expected move for Nvidia was like 100 points up or 100 points down. So that's like what it was at. 725 early in the week. So that's over a 10% move. That's like what, 12% move in just a weekly. So that's what's going to be very interesting, is seeing the weekly expected move for it, because it could go down 100 points from where it was at when it started on Monday. It can go up 100 points from where it started at. Sorry to detail your question. Derail. Oh, no, you're fine. I just have ADHD, so like if my brain flips, I like have to talk about the next thing. Oh wait, why am I on a 2 hour still? My bad. That 2 hour though can turn up in positive territory. That's a good sign. Yeah, my ADHD does not let me not address. So what's the answer, Frick? Would you be covering Nvidia after hours? I might go live again this afternoon, or I might just tackle it in the actual YouTube video. It's kind of up in the air. Maybe turn the notifications on. Should I do it? I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh. What's the answer for the 4-letter word? Jobs. Jobs is searched 700% more this time this year than it was last year, which tells you people are out there looking for jobs. People are looking for work. We can go look at, you can look at, I think you can just type like default or what is it? Dang it, I used to know how to search for this. Delinquency, that's what I need to type. Delinquency on all loans, credit cards. Okay, you see this? So I want you to see the credit card delinquencies are, first of all, about to go into a positive trend. We have a divergence like this. So this is something that I pay attention to. I knew it was jobs. Mr. English, you should have typed it. I would have gave you extra credit. I would have gave you more luck on your next trade. That is probably making numbers up. Yes, so they're actually, I don't think they're making numbers up necessarily. Recession, close, but it was only 4 letters. I don't know if you're here to hear that, Ant-Man, but recession is not being searched right now, but I guarantee you by the end of 2024, it's going to be searched pretty good. Now, this is a 3-month, by the way, just so you do know, so we can see a lot of fluctuation here, but it gives you the grand scheme of things. If this keeps rising, you'll notice 2008 where it got to, yeah, or 2009, we can see one of those moves again. We're above these moving averages. We can really gain some steam here. Positive territory once we get positive. Boom. So something cool you can look at. This is going to mess with all my charts now. I'm going to be on 3-month on everything. Let me fix this real quick. Oh god, I'm going to have to zoom for a long time. Perhaps just counting part-time jobs in a strange fashion. Okay, this is good. So if you guys didn't know, in the jobs data will calculate and count someone who is just looking for a job. Someone who is actively looking for a job. They count that. I actually found that out, I believe, like last year at some point, and I was like, I can't believe they do that. So when you look at that jobs number, you have to say, you know, what percentage of these people actually have a job? Yeah, that happened yesterday, Capital One. It is sketchy, but it's, oh, people are looking for jobs. That means they're actively participating in the workforce because they're looking for a job. And I can just tell you this. I went to my gas station the other day and I said to him, he said, oh, you guys are having to close at 11 o'clock. You guys used to be out all night. He goes, yeah, we're closing early now because we can't find anyone to hire. Nobody wants to work there. And I was just like, nobody wants to work there. All I hear is people don't have money and nobody wants to work at not Quick Trip. It's like a quick shop. But I was just like, that is crazy to me. What state? I'm back in Kansas. I just moved back to Kansas from Georgia. My life history. I've only lived in Kansas, Georgia, Pennsylvania are the 3 states I've lived in. Michigan. Let's go Michigan State. My grandpa went to Michigan State. Oh, no, wait. You might be a yellow Michigan guy. My bad. Sorry, I gotta support the Spartans for my grandpa. But no worries. That's all right. That's all right. They come second. I'm a KU guy. Sorry, I'm a KU guy. So if we have any Kentucky people out there, I don't like you. No, I'm just kidding. No, I like you guys plenty. You like Georgia and Georgia now? I did not. Personally, I didn't. Have a good day, guys. Good luck trading. Thanks, LG. Hey, thanks for stopping by and thanks for hanging out after your trades. Georgia was just a little. It's just. There's a lot, like Kansas is very nice. There's very nice people. You walk down the street, people ask how you doing. And then also like it's a decent enough city. Georgia, where I was at, was busy. It was like right outside Atlanta, good school district. It was crazy. All I can say on the sec, tactical tab. Give me one sec. Johnny Bravo. Oh, I know Johnny Bravo. I would say this. Once we found out we were pregnant, we were like, oh, I don't really want to drive anywhere, because like you can drive for, it can take you like 20 minutes to go 1 mile where I was at. It could, and also on that 20 minutes of driving 1 mile, you could see 3 people pulled over and 2 car accidents. So we just said, let's move back to somewhere that's a little bit we know is safe, right? So we went back to Kansas. Plus, we have family here, so it's very nice. We got to go, feed the baby, drop her off, and go to lunch. What are your thoughts on Johnny Bravo 9-day MA? Is it a gimmick? I actually do utilize the 9 a lot of the time, especially for my volatile trading. It helps you get that confirmation close of the like a bar above the 9, and you can pay attention to if that crossing is at the same time. So I don't think it's too gimmicky. I really don't. Now, I've seen his videos and people say I'm bearish, and I'm like, I really try to give pretty good like back and forth. I do think a 9 is very useful in a volatile market, and either extreme volatility or no volatility. I think a 9 can be useful, but 1 is for swing trading in the non-volatile, and then 1 is for divergence and momentum trading in a volatile market. Yeah, so his channel has changed a lot. I actually, when I first started really getting into technical analysis, obviously his channel is huge. It popped up to me and I was reading into it, and I'm like, yeah, so like overall the courses I would take, what he was saying did not go too far off of that. But now he's less about the charts. He more just throws a bunch of bearish things at you. And I think every single video, he has the stamp of get out now, 1 day left. But, I've done that before. But I'm very good in, at least I hope I'm very good in my videos of being like, now we need that bad news. You could have 1 day left. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, cue the fire. I still watch him from time to time. I think he's entertaining and he brings up good, like, decent things. But if you look every single day, I could show you guys fundamental stuff every single day that says, hey, it's going to be bearish tomorrow. But the point is, you can always find something bad if you want to. And I could just show you guys that bad stuff all the time. I would rather really, talk to you guys personally live and be like, do you find this helpful for your trading? I would rather be helpful, educational, than just spewing negative stuff all the time, which I don't think he does, right? He doesn't say, but he'll say, get out now, and then be like, now the market's going to go up. And I'm like, well, yeah, because it's just swinging up and it's above the 200, all that good stuff. So I guess to fully answer, I don't think he's that bad. I actually think he makes good points. That's all I would really say about him. And was he actually a teacher? Does anyone know? Was he actually a teacher? Also, one thing that could happen here is we had the reverse, but because this actually popped out, we could be looking at this the other way. I just thought about that. Boom, boom, boom. Could happen. So allegedly, and a former cop, and he said he was like in the military at one point or something. I'm like, damn. I mean, maybe he's like me. I did a ton of different things. I, started my own business. I made my own app. COVID hit. I became a TikTok star. I was a semi-pro soccer player that almost played for the New York Red Bulls. Then I got hurt. Worked at a marketing agency for a long time. I'm really good at that. And now I have a startup that's actually talking to me about joining their team, which is pretty cool. But it's like, people can do a lot. I would be very surprised if he's lying about that stuff. That's all I would say. I don't think he is. He doesn't strike me as that kind of guy, Yeah, I'm killing it. Yeah, if every single venture of mine wasn't ended super abruptly, but that's what led me to getting like focusing on my trading, focusing on my charts for years, and really honing in on that. So you got to appreciate the process a little bit. You never know what's in store for you until you actually move forward. Yeah, semi-pro soccer. I had the Red Bull team or whatever coming out to see my next game. I got my shoulder dislocated. It was out for 4 hours straight. That sucked. 3-1. The thing with Nvidia puts right now is they're so expensive. They're very expensive, and you got to look. The put call ratio as of right now is 0.99. How many people do you think have puts against? I did subscribe to Ron Walker. I'll give him a look. I need to find this link again. Oh wait. Okay, I found it. Let me see. Let's look for Nvidia for the first. Actually, we have actually a call ratio on Nvidia. Okay, so this is what I'm looking at. This is maximum pain. So with maximum pain, you notice that the max pain is 682.50 for this week. The highest call strike 1300. You have this huge call wall 800. This is where I was really paying attention to. And it's nice to see this on here, right? 800 is a solid number for this week, right? So for this week, 800 is a big number. Now, where we are at, as of right now, we could go down to 650 before that happens. Getting through this level of 700 is going to be very important, because if we get above it and we stay above it, these people might to sell out these positions. These people might sell out these positions. We could get some squeezing going on, and then we could come up to that 800. So if it wants to go the other way, though, and it starts going down this way, well, now these people might cover, and we actually could see more squeezing down. So that's why this is a very volatile week, and I am going to stay away from Nvidia because it could be very volatile. Now you are at a 0.84 put call ratio, little bit to the put side there, but you see your 301, you're seeing a lot of the call ratio come in. You're seeing that 800 number be huge again. So 800 is going to be a big point to pay attention to. As of next week, everyone is bullish. It looks like 0.61, nothing to blink at, really. It's pretty good. 0.84 is pretty healthy, I would say. So it really could go either way. If this said like, 0.9 or even 1, then I would be like, okay, that's a lot of puts. And if this goes positive, we're going to see that squeeze. But it looks like where we're sitting now, we see Nvidia drop. We could see people cover their calls. If we see a push higher, right, then we could see people start to buy back in, because these puts are going to lose value fast, and they're expensive. They're pretty premium right now. You grabbed the wrong side. I'm sorry, review. That sucks, man. Lucky be a lady. 550 too far away for a put strike price. 550. I really think a better trade will suit up to you. Like I said, you're pretty much doing a 50-50 flip, because you could see Nvidia go up for days. If you want, insurance play maybe 550 though, it could definitely get there by next Friday, because we have a 100-point move this week. Who says we don't have a 100-point move next week? I personally, I don't think I can comment correctly for that. I'm sorry about that, Tactical Ted. Tesla's making the handle. And sorry, I'll get to some of these. Video already is priced in the market, but I would imagine it now becomes how much of a beat with yeah, that 605, 600 level is really where I've been paying attention, by the way, to the downside. Let me move of the day. Sorry, review. I just read your comment again. I just don't see much support until 460 range. Tesla starting to make the handle. Yeah, we can look at that. Nvidia, literally, you're kind of asking to come down to this 664 in the recent price action. Will that create a divergence? And then if there's divergence before the earnings, and that is good, you can really see an explosive move. 600 pitch aspiring Friday will print. Hey, I'm here for it, man. I believe in you. I'll respect anyone's thinking on this one. You're in negative territory. This easily could roll over, come down to a 660 pretty quick. But Friday, just so you know, like, most likely if you're banking on this going below, yeah, so you're in the right area at least. You probably could come down to this with some extreme selling. I'm just worried about this chunk in here coming in as important, dipping down, seeing a reaction up. Rate cuts ahead of Nvidia earnings and Fed minutes. Ooh. What was Gilberto, can you tell me those rate cuts again? Tell me what the exact rate cuts you need to ask yourself. What would Nancy Pelosi do? Isn't there a Twitter page for that? Just there's a whole Twitter page that's dedicated to following Nancy Pelosi and her husband's trades, I think. And it's so funny when people do that because they like track it and they actually like it kind of works. Yeah. Oh god, I gotta find that site too. You can see the insider trades. It's usually delayed, but you can see the insider trades, and I used that back during the bear market because I noticed like it literally had like Mark Zuckerberg selling a ton of Facebook. It had like Elon Musk selling a ton of Tesla, and I was like, man, a lot of people are selling, and I got daily divergence here. That was years ago, by the way. That didn't happen like just now. I want to make sure you guys aren't like, oh. Kathy Woods. Okay. I thought it was AARK. Is it RKK? Arc Innovation. All right, we're gonna do some Kathy Woods here. No divergence down here. Now you can make a big right shoulder, right? We're in this area. We can make a big right shoulder. Kathy Woods. I'm gonna pull up a daily here. Let's just look at this. Okay. Now here's the thing. What happened here? Does anyone know what happened right over here? You know what happened here? And I'm going to tell you something about Kathy Woods. What happened right here? I'll give you a hint. They bought coin. Her face and thick guys. Laugh. Yeah. This was the COVID dip, right? There's the COVID dip. Now, inflation came back into the market, right? Inflation came in strong with the market because we got a bunch of subsidizing, a bunch of free money, a bunch of corporate buybacks, a bunch of money to businesses to pay employees, all kinds of stuff. Loans were cheap, all that. So what do you think this run was? Do you think this was just a fantastic move for her? Or did she just know, hey, a bunch of free money's coming into the system, boom, it explodes. Now I look really smart. Now I'm starting to look a little less smart over time. And I've heard her talk. I can't get my head around some of the stuff she says. It's not as bad as Jim Cramer, but I can't get around some of the stuff, and I'm glad that they don't interview her as much anymore, and it makes sense, right? Because you've lost 66% of your value at the top. Ooh, grand scheme of things, head and shoulders, guys. Look at this. She's going up soon. She's going up. Left, head, right shoulder, breakthrough. No. Now you still can swing trade her ETF or whatever, but I am not a... Kathy Wood does not give me wood. Let's put it that way. She doesn't give my trades wood either. The monkey could have made that move. It's true. I have a friend who... And it's not... It's timing. It's being smart. do a little reversal on the SPY, NASDAQ. I'm just saying, it's like, I have a friend who he had, I think, like $30,000 saved up, and he just saw stocks at low prices during COVID and was like, cool, and then he made a shit ton of money. Good for you. Smart decision. I convinced all my friends to sell their houses, and they made a bunch of money. New lows for NASDAQ. Nvidia, this is where it needs to reject. But, sorry, I did complete the comment. Kathy Wood just recently sold Nvidia stocks. Well, I don't want to be that guy, but I just showed you her ETF. It's not looking the strongest, so I would not follow anything Kathy Wood does unless money's being pumped in the system based on that chart. But hey, if she's someone you like to follow, thanks, my trigger. Like I said, I was a comedian on TikTok at one point. But if you do like to follow Kathy Wood, like, that's perfectly fine. I would just say take it with a grain of salt. You know, get other opinions too, because I have my people, you know, that I can say I like, and they're wrong sometimes. But I don't mean to bash your girl. I just pulled up her stock and she's down 66%. If someone's down 66% and trying to give me advice, and I don't know what her profits look like. Maybe she's getting out, so, you know, she's getting out. Maybe she's heavy in cash. Maybe she's being smart, right? Maybe she's heavy in cash right now and she's not. She's telling her investors, hey, we're holding out. That's what I'll say. That could be a very smart thing. I'll give her some credit. Make sure you hit that like button for me, guys, all right? Girl, Tom Lee's right a lot of the time, and I think he's got some insider info, because some of the stuff he has said in the past year is crazy, and it all happened. Some of the stuff he said the last year, I was like, what the hell? He literally, I think he called that we would go to 5,000 on the SPX like in August or something. And I was just like, really? I was like, this, I mean, if we consolidate, and then I was like, we did not consolidate like over the months. Then you just, we consolidate a little bit, and then boom, we skyrocketed up recently. So he's pretty solid. I like more in depth. Like, I need him to go in depth of like why. Usually he just comes on and kind of says like, oh, I'm seeing the market in a good spot. Buyers are still there. Buyers are here. I think people will want to invest into the end of the year. We're seeing inflation numbers come down. So 5,000. And I'm like, we're seeing inflation numbers come down. So 5,000. Hey, you got it. Yeah, this run since October has been absolutely bonkers. It has. And on my channel, you've seen me talk about, hey, we need to consolidate here. And after the first divergence didn't play out, that's when I really made sure to say, guys, this is a positive trend. Sure, I have some bearish thumbnails, but you have to wait for that negative trend to begin. You have to wait for the bad news, or else there's just going to be positivity. If there's nothing to flip the positivity out of people's minds, it's going to keep going up. But hopefully you're able to swing trade a lot. Hey, it happens to all of us. I mean, it probably happened to me like a month ago. I really thought January was going to be the time, and then it turned a little bit, and I was like, okay, well, I got to get out. But that's part of the battle, guys. It's a battle out here. 10-year yield. Breaking through some points here. TLT. Consolidation in here. Getting tight. Ready for an explosive move before 1 p.m. Keep forgetting how irrational the market is. Yeah. That's why it's kind of like it's the risk management at that point. Risk management will save all of you. Save me too. No biggie. Yeah, and that's because you had talking heads come out saying Nvidia earnings is going to be great. You had talking heads come out for the Fed saying that inflation going up, it could mean that what we're doing is working. But, you know, a year ago, if inflation was going up, they'd raise rates. So it's just a little bit like, I don't know about that, man. But do they raise again? Probably not. All right, I'm going to turn this on for just a little bit. Make sure to like. If you got a buddy that likes stocks, share for me. Give me some comments. Let me know if you guys would be interested in possibly a Discord, anything like that. I'm going to go get one more coffee, and then I'll be right back, okay? Hang tight. No, I don't like that. All right, I'll be right back.
Now, your company news headlines on Bloomberg Radio.
From the Bloomberg Interactive Broker Studio, I'm Lisa Mateo. Today, it's all about Nvidia, the chipmaker opening its books after the close. Now, it's responsible for a third of the NASDAQ 100 gains this year, and that has Goldman Sachs calling it the most important stock on planet Earth. Alex Webb covers tech for Bloomberg News.
I think it's important partly because of what we've seen from the other big tech stocks. It's been a little bit of a mixed picture, not uniformly good, not uniformly bad. We saw slight hiccups at Microsoft and Google, decent numbers elsewhere at Amazon and Meta. So it means there's a lot of weight on Nvidia, which of course is responsible for a huge amount of, in fact, of the market's growth over the past year. It's gone from $600 billion market cap to 1.8 trillion in the space of little over 12 months.
Shares are down about 2%. Now from tech to finance, HSBC, their ADRs right now, they're down about 8% after reporting fourth quarter profit that fell 80%. It also announced a $2 billion share buyback. And Citigroup boosting the pay of its CEO, Jane Fraser, by 6% to $26 million. This comes during a reorganization where thousands have lost their jobs. City's down about 0.3%. And the world's biggest e-commerce company, about to become a blue chip stock, Bloomberg's Alexandra Semenova, has more than Amazon joining the Dow Jones Industrial Average.
The e-commerce giant will replace Walgreens Boots Alliance in the 30 stock gauge. The change will go into effect prior to the open of trading on Monday, February 26th. The shift was prompted by Walmart's decision to split its stock 3-to-1. Such a move will reduce Walmart's index weight due to the price-weighted construction of the blue chip index. Unlike its counterpart in the S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100, the Dow is weighted based on the share price of its holdings rather than their market cap.
Aside from that news, we're also learning Amazon founder Jeff Bezos selling more of his stake in the company, unloading 14 million shares.
This is Bloomberg Intelligence with Alex Steele and Paul Sweeney on Bloomberg Radio.
Quick snapshot of these markets. S&P off 0.25%. The NASDAQ off 0.6%. We also keep an eye on the Russell. That's off about 0.5%. That's the small cappers. Yields just pretty much steady right here. 4.28% on your 10-year WTI crude oil. Slightly higher, $77 and change. and Bitcoin off 1.7%, 51,100 on your cryptocurrency. With our news in New York City, here's Michael Barr.
Thank you very much, Paul, Bailey, and Lisa. The U.S. has told its allies that Russia could put a nuclear weapon in space within a year. That's what sources are telling Bloomberg News. We get more from Bloomberg government's...
Yo, did I hear that right?
...in Washington.
Being told U.S. allies is that Russia
Friggin'
is trying to
Nvidia
build
makes up a
nuclear
third
weapon
of the
in space
Q's
that could target
gains.
satellites and have huge disruptive effects
No
on
way.
communications here on Earth. The President Biden has said that this weapon does not pose a threat to human lives, but obviously if you disrupt satellites, that could disrupt so much of what we do. So we depend so much on communications right now.
Bloomberg government's John Tamari in the nation's capital.
Yo, what
Former
the
President
frick?
Donald Trump participated in a Fox News town hall
Yeah.
on domestic and foreign policy changes.
So you're
Truth Social Post.
There we go. So you're telling me, holy crap, that is crazy. How rational market is. Amazon opens new tab is. Oh yeah, that too. They said Bezos is selling. That's kind of crazy though. All right, who said something about AMD? Let's look. It looks weak, but it's right where it can hold up. It's literally right at it. But if this wants to cross over, that would be a huge break. This consolidation for quite some time. We're actually getting a firm break out of it. That would be very interesting. Nvidia still not able to cross. Worrisome is this could be flagging. Okay, this could be flagging, even though we have potential for some kind of double bottom. Could be flagging. I'm having fun. So I stay a little bit. AMD is a Nvidia logger. Yeah, so they're pretty tied together. That's why I was bringing up SMCI. We saw that reaction once it hit a certain price. We can see that reaction as well with Nvidia and AMD. Pretty similar. $6 billion in Amazon in the past 10 days. Yikes. Now, if these big people are smart, sometimes they do sell a couple weeks in advance before anything happens. But I really think today the stage is really set. Part of me wants to get a little bit more safety just in case. Alrighty. Bring up those weekly ranges here. Oh, we're drawing again, guys. Oops. There we go. That's a better view. I'm going to check some ranges, see if we're hitting the downside of any of these. Nvidia, no. Apple, no. We could go a little lower. Amazon, no. A little lower for Amazon as well. Tesla high. Let's see that. Okay, high is a little higher. Tesla really kind of selling off here. I'm hoping that's a handle. That'd be nice. Video we already checked. AMD is about at its weekly expected move, by the way. I'm just going to give that to you guys. Okay, 161.10. So you're literally looking about 1.5 points lower, and AMD will be at its weekly expected move. So you have the potential for divergence right at that weekly expected move. Now, this has to be said the other way, too. If you have a divergence here, you still need some good news for that bounce, or I would say even mediocre news would maybe make this bounce. We are still holding down here. Tesla, let's take a peek at that. Still coming down, but if this is able to base out, that would be very, very good. Boom, boom, boom. Get up into that zone up there. Not at the expected move yet. We're actually pretty much right back in the middle. Yeah, we're pretty much right back in the middle from those weekly expected moves for Tesla. Hard to say which way it's going to go when it's in the middle. This market is about to puke. Nice book value. Hey, because you said that the market's about to puke, I bought some safety again just now. Times in March 2020. Currently, we're at 407. So our average is 2.63 book. They say market rallies another 8%. We would eclipse. Okay, 4.7. I was like, we're still pretty off. We're still 25% off. Break 490.70 and we drop 490.55. Yeah, this could be a right shoulder on SPX. Like, this could be a little head and shoulders right in here. This could be all she wrote, you know? We'll have to see. There's still a lot of potential here. You can see the SPX. We can still see that slanted head and shoulders coming in right here. Not saying that we're not going to flip to a bear side soon. I'm just saying in the near price action, we might get some kind of bounce. But if this curls over, you're probably right. We're probably heading lower. This curls over, which it did for a moment there. So there's your divergence on the MACD at the same time, because you got one red bar. All right, 44 people. Let's do this. If I get, how many likes do I have? Let's see if I can get, see if we can get this going, if people want it. Let's see. All right, if we get to 50 or actually we'll just do 40 likes. So 9 more likes and we will come back at 1 o'clock to see the FOMC minutes. See the reaction to the FOMC minutes. 9 more likes. I don't know how to check my likes in this one, but sent a like. Thank you, Sean. Tesla going to sync. I appreciate you, bud. Thank you. Keep liking. Give me a bunch of little likes there, and we'll come back later this afternoon. That'll allow us to see what happens with FOMC. Maybe I'll hang with you guys for a couple hours there and see where we're at. And then we can maybe... Does anyone know exact timing for when the Nvidia earnings is released? I just drew again. You know me, guys. See later. If you got, if anyone knows the exact time that Nvidia is putting out the earnings, 4 p.m. So market close, or for me, 4 p.m. is an hour after market close. But hit the thumbs up. Let's see if we hit it after hours. Okay, yeah, I know it's after hours. I was seeing if like it was a 3:30 or 4:30. Oh, and we hit 40. Keep liking though for me, all right, guys? Do me a favor. Market close. Okay, we'll stick around maybe then. So I'll try to get back on from 1 to close. So the last 2 hours of trading, and we'll wait like another 30 minutes, see if we can see that NVIDIA reaction. But for now, I'm going to go help out with the baby. So I'm going to run through some stocks with you guys in this last 10 minutes here. So a lot that we've been talking about is what's happening right now. We actually still have the potential on the SPY for this head and shoulders to play out. We have not exceeded this low, so we still have a head and shoulders on the SPY. We can get some kind of reaction, which makes sense, right? So if we see when price actually breaks through this, where would we be getting to? Positive territory. Downward size if we break 20 to 50 day moving average. Do that real quick for you. 20-day moving average, look for the bottom side of that weekly expected move, 492.75. The actual thing that I would pay attention to is the point in between here. So this little zone between this high and this low. Because if we do, we could see some kind of tear down in here, a little bounce, and then maybe we reject, come down into here and get a bigger bounce. This is how I'd see it breaking down. That's for the SPY. Let's pop over to the Qs. It's a little bit different on this 15-minute here. And thank you for subscribing, Tony. Really, really appreciate it. Right now, you're looking like an ABC patterns just fully played out, right? We came down, we flagged out, we came down again, about an even move. So here makes sense why we're trying to base out. Now, what I would say about the Qs as of the current price action is we're paying attention to this MACD. We don't necessarily have that head and shoulders anymore, but we do have a possible double bottom here. We do have a slight divergence there. We have a divergence down here on the RSI as well. We have a triple divergence on the RSI. So we could see some kind of bounce. Is this now going to be the head and we're going to see a little bit more wonkiness before we go up? Maybe. I think we have a good shot to come up to this area if we see some positivity come in. Well, that's it. The only other thing you really have to worry about here is if it actually firmly crosses down, takes out this low, closes below, you could be heading towards that weekly expected move. If we get outside of that, we can see more drastic selling, but 68% of the time we do land back within the zone by the end of the day. So if we see a reaction down, look at that divergence, and then pay attention to the FOMC minutes, and we'll talk about that when it comes. Thank you guys so much. Keep liking, keep liking. Apple, really what I'm looking at here, 30-minute, we curled up. Is it able to get into positive territory, right? So once it's able to get into positive territory, look at this 2-hour. Is it crossing as of right now? Yes. Now this could flip, right? We have all the momentum dying out here. We have a divergence. We have a 30-minute divergence behind the 2-hour divergence. It's a very good sign. Is that going to produce some strength here and get a good move? That's the real question moving forward. We'll pay attention to this, and then as it gets into positive territory, start to bring up that daily chart because that's most likely crossing. Nvidia on the 2-hour, you'll notice that it's in negative territory. So if we do get positivity, we actually have room for more positivity, set up another point of divergence, maybe looking at a point between these two highs here, see if that's able to touch up there. That's what I'd say on the 2-hour. 30-minute, we're still looking like we have that divergence here. So if we are able to get into positive territory, I'd really be paying attention to this gap up here. Tesla, we talked about this a little bit ago. Looks like we want to complete some kind of handle here, maybe head up again. But we're in positive or negative territory. We're right at the center line, so we really need to choose which way we're going to pivot. This could play on a ton of ways, though. We could double bottom first, then go. We could just stop the handle here, then go. 15-minute might be a little better to see this. But you see this curvature of the MACD, so you're getting really close. You need Tesla to probably make a decision over the next hour. Nvidia down, what is that, 1.89%, almost 2%. If it does lose this area here and it's not able to hold up with this right in here, I'd be paying attention to my weekly ranges. Look at the weekly ranges that are on my Patreon down in the description, and this right here might become important, right? We're looking for pockets of liquidity where we could see buyers step back in if we see more downside. I really think on this 15-minute, if it rolls over, this point right here, this 663-ish, will start to become pretty important. AMD, it's going to follow what Nvidia does for the most part, okay? We were able to set up this trend line here for you guys on the YouTube side of things, the YouTube videos, not the live video. And we did leave behind a gap. We broke through resistance. Now we're starting a negative trend. So if this is rejecting right now, that's a good sign. Maybe it's a double bottom. But I'll take a look at XLF maybe this afternoon. Just try to remind me, Ant-Man. Meta, we can check out real quick. Meta is something I want to look at it on the daily because I haven't been paying too much attention. But you can see as of today, we've crossed on this MACD. Now, the good part about this is we got outside of that Bollinger Band and we moved sideways. So this is consolidation. You have a little bit of upside left. This could go up to 520. but the risk is you could go all the way down to 375. That's kind of how I think about things. We left a gap behind, good amount of consolidation, but is it some kind of, you know, Wyckoff or whatever, where it pops out to the top and then we start to see a big pop, and then we see that start to fail. Once we get below this area here, you're going to cut through this pretty quick. There's no price action to hold you up. So if we see selling in Meta, really be paying attention to this gap down here. It's going to be about a 10% move. I did not have the weekly expected move for Meta. Last thing I did just like to check on here is the VIX. You'll notice that if this 2 hour is able to roll over, we could see positivity for a little bit. And I'm really paying attention to this gap here, but honestly, I'm really looking at this. I really think that this gap here will become important. If we see bullishness come in, you do have a 30-minute divergence, which likes to roll over that 2 hour. Okay, so 30-minute divergence. Some people say it's a little wonky on the VIX. It is, but overall, if this gets into a negative trend, then it's in a negative trend. That's all you have to pay attention to. Boom, we can come fill this gap. Pay attention to what happens here if we break below there, looking for the gap. So hopefully you guys had some fun. Last earnings. Fear and greed index, yeah, that's pretty much the VIX, right? So we're seeing that fear as of right now, which means more puts are being put into the market. That's what VIX is pretty much calculating. It's calculating the amount of fear in the market with puts and calls. Oh, sorry. So that means as of today, the bearishness went up. And we can notice that because we know that the put call ratio right now, it's sitting at, let's do this. It is sitting at a 1.074. So there is a lot of bearishness coming in, which is a two-sided thing. If you're a contrarian, you might say, hey, I'm going to bet against the herd. But since there are a lot of puts here, it could invite more selling, more puts to pile back on. So we want to pay attention to that. It's kind of like this here. We pop out to like a 105. We see that drop back down for a day or two, and then we get that big pop up with a bigger drop. A lot of these you want to be a contrarian because usually they lead to bounces, especially if we get up towards this 1.41. I'm a contrarian only on the wrong move. ARK. Suffering today, could curl over in negative territory, looking for possibly a reaction down here towards that 200. So Kathy Wood might be in a little trouble. Now the US 100, this is something I was paying attention to. This is the last thing I'll just mention here. Overall, on the Qs, it doesn't look this clean, but you can see on the actual future, it's looking pretty even here, right? So we could see some kind of reaction even to come up, maybe retest this area, come down. But we could see that positivity come in. It looks like this divergence needs to hold up right now, and you have a divergence in the recent price action. Scan through some of these on the 2 hour. Microsoft was a fun one too. You see the point it's at. This would be great structure to head down if we created some kind of right shoulder here, even filling this gap. That's a fun one. Apple, just looking for that to hold for about 15 minutes. The Qs are still holding up. I think everyone's just waiting. I love when they say rates aren't really doing anything today. And it's like, well, yeah, there's news at 1. It's not going to move a bunch before unless we got some data. All right, guys. Well, thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. You guys have been awesome. I will be coming back this afternoon just to watch that with you. And then after market close, we'll see if we can get those Nvidia earnings if I'm able to stay on. Dad duties sometimes take up my time nowadays. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a lot of luck today. All right. I know a couple people said that they had 4 for 4 on trades. Good job. Keep it up. Stay safe out there. Don't be hesitant, right? Be willing to flip back and forth because we can see volatility is a little bit higher. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Peace.